Heidi-ho neighbors, Radio Goji here, and welcome back to Squeeze the World Presents Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. And when we last left off, we finished Chapter 5, which was Stephen's chapter, and we got the grand majority of the story, but now we're in the final chapter, the 6th chapter, the Kate chapter. We're actually back where we started. Just past this gate is, as you can see, that's a little building, the little guard station there. And right outside that guard station is where we first started the game, but now we're on the other side of the gate, and the final chapter actually takes place within the Valus Observatory. Each of these towers has some recordings that we can look at, which will more or less explain the nature of the pattern and you know what the hell is going on here. You know, why everybody's dead. And I mean, obviously, I did mention my theory as to, you know, my whole theory as to why, you know, Stephen's mother, Wendy, just caused the end of the world, and I still, you know, had, you know, hold true to that, but still, I'm gonna take a look at some of these recordings and find out the exact stuff that's going on as far as the pattern is concerned.
On the plane, Stephen leaned across me and pointed out of the window.
Or
"Down
that.
there," he said. "That's home." But all I saw were patches of color. I don't think until this moment that I understood that one could contain the other so completely.
Okay. And there isn't, as you noticed, there really isn't a light ball leading us around in this particular case. It's more or less these little light streams that are kind of pointing us in the direction. And even, you know, we still have the lit up pathways like we've seen in between chapters anyway, but you know, I'm trying to, you see these little wispy light things that are actually leading us toward the tape recorders, and I'm pretty much trying to go in order of the towers here. Here she set up a bunch of printers. Okay.
I watched a butterfly dancing in a strip of sunlight. All of its life contained in a single day. The blink of an eye between the ebb of the darkening tide. Lying there with the pattern curled around me, I saw the inevitability. The necessity of presence born from absence. The constant unfolding.
Okay. Or is she gonna... I thought... I mean, she does explain eventually what's all this, but she does get, you know, obviously she does get existential at times. I am walking on all your printers and I don't give a fuck. Alright, so let's go up to Tower 3. It's still Tower 1 up there. I think it's like the odd-numbered ones are on the right. Yeah, because that's Tower 4, I think. Oh yeah, the light's saying go this way, so this must be Tower 3. Follow the light. And there's some books. And she's got some telescopes sent up here. Set up here. Sent up. Come on. Yep, Tower 3. Okay.
I know it didn't mean to hurt any of them. I try and explain why Lizzie tried to leave with her child and why it was wrong to stop her. I try and explain that much of what it did was wrong. It shows me Stephen and Lizzie together. And I'm happy for them. Frank walks his fields with Mary. Wendy and Edward nest together in the orchards of their love. Jeremy lies at peace with his God at last. All of them are happy because they are together. I understand it better now. It is a collector of time. Of butterflies.
So yeah, that's pretty much like, you know, her outright saying, you know, what this is. I think it just like when it you know, makes people disappear, it absorbs them and their personalities into their light stream and whatever, and their I don't really want to say it's a collective consciousness, but because, you know, obviously as she's described, there's still separate personalities within the pattern that are still interacting with each other, but it's not necessarily trying to hurt people. It's just, well, I mean, it's just they're kind of like assimilating people because they don't want to be alone, and that's why. And I think they'll explain it in here in a bit as well. But that's why they were able to reach out to Kate, because she was, you know, distancing herself from everyone else in the village and her husband, and she felt like the most lonely there. So that's why why the pattern gravitated toward her.
I watched the pattern lean in, and time slowed to almost nothing. I saw the flame move from Stephen's hand, and the moment hang in the air forever. I watched his face, and in the last second, I almost believe he saw me.
Oh, the end of the last chapter.
Or angry. I remember his expression, just like I remember it from the first time, early that morning when he woke and, still half sleeping, said, "God, I love you." And I loved him as he entered the fire, and I let him go, knowing I wasn't ready to join him. We have held time to ourselves here in this place, held the light to the ground because we were afraid of the coming dark. But now we understand that to cling to the light is not living. I've spent my life watching the illumination from a million dead stars reaching for me without grasping this meaning. The light we cast transcends our death. The pattern made by our living creates a bridge across the dark.
There's the pattern going into the stuff there. She said that. Conversion point. There really isn't too much else to say here. She's saying everything that really needs to be said. There's really nothing I can think of to say here. So this is a great game to Let's Play, don't you know? She's writing stuff all over the place like Stephen was, too. This should be Tower 5 over here. Okay. Hanging TVs from trees. Okay.
It reaches out from the shadow of the tower, across the observatory, over the valley, and consumes the world. Everything is light now. Everything has come to rest.
Not necessarily a good thing, just saying.
The world is scored by the traces we carved into it. Our presence is everywhere, the bridge joining our stories. This world existed before we came to it, and it will continue without us. In the empty fields and houses, our traces radiate, and others will come to dance in the light we cast. We can slip away gently, unafraid, knowing that everything will continue.
I guess that also, you see the going into the TVs and using the signal to spread themselves. This printing is very much disabled for this. And we finally get to Tower 6, which is the, you know, obviously the last part of the game here. And we're, yeah, this is more or less where Kate had spent her entire time during the Cataclysm. It's obviously the more ornate one. I don't know why this isn't Tower 1 and like all the other ones are numbered elsewise. Is that even a word? I don't think it is. I think it's something I may have just made up. And you go into this room here. And there's one last motion event.
The end is coming now. I'm not afraid. We have each other. We lived apart from them. We understand now our failure to touch, to belong.
Sorry.
But it doesn't matter anymore. Everybody is gone. And we will join them. We are born apart. Driftwood on the banks of an endless dark ocean, and we will be carried away by the swell soon enough. But in between, in the single day of living, that dancing in a strip of sunlight, we can find what we miss. The love that makes us whole. The imminence. Everybody found their other. This pattern is mine.
So I think that's it there. Does it go on to the credits? I could even stop the Yep, there's the credits. So that's yeah. I don't know how ambiguous they were trying to make it, but all of the evidence seems to point to the player character being Kate. And at first I didn't really... I mean, I saw, evidence going toward it, yes, but I didn't really think too much about that. I just thought it was like, like just some other person who just happened to be there or something like that. Like, last remaining survivor, going around and finding out what's happening. But, it does make more sense that it's Kate. I mean, you start off at the beginning of the game, you start off right outside the observatory. You bop around all the other places, and you find Steven at the end, I guess. And then as you make your way toward Tower 6 at the end, and you, the camera zooms out to show the glowing figure, which is presumably Kate finally joining the pattern. So, with her being the last person around on Earth, literally, like she wasn't even, what's the word I'm thinking of? She wasn't even exaggerating there. She literally was the last person on Earth, and she was going through all that, I guess, to get some sort of closure on everything, and leaving all of her recordings for posterity and all that. So yeah, that's how the world ended in 1984, which is odd. That was the year I was born, so that's I don't remember that happening. So I don't know if it was just because she says that she seems to imply that she's the last person on Earth, but it's not necessarily clear as if this is a localized event or as if it's actually world spread. But it's obviously fiction. I mean, the world didn't really end in 1984. Seems like an odd time for them to say here's when the world ended, but I didn't make the game. But what a game it was. I like the game. It's not I wouldn't consider it a favorite or anything like that, but it is a very nicely written story. even if that is pretty much all there is to the game, is just, you know, walking around and seeing the story. And I do, and that's why, you know, I said at the very beginning, if you have any interest in playing this game yourself, you know, to stop right then and you know, follow, you know, play the game yourself, because I've pretty much shown what most, if not all, there is to do in the game. And seeing as the story is pretty much the game, once you've seen the story, there really isn't that much of a reason to get the game. And okay, I may have cocked up a bit with that, but it's whatever. It's still, you know, it's a good cheap game. It's like, I think it's like $15 at the most, maybe 20. I got it for 10. I think it was on sale, or there was like a promotion going on, something like that. I think it's like 15 to get it, and it's an easy platinum. You know, and if this isn't your kind of game, I mean, this is definitely a very sort of niche kind of genre, this walking simulator thing. There really isn't too much else to say there. I just kind of spoiled the entire game for everybody just by putting these up. But I still, you know, kind of liked it and wanted to get what few thoughts, you know, I had on it across. I know I really didn't talk that much during it because there was so much story. But you know, I still had fun making it, and that's, you know, the main reason I make these videos is because it's fun. You know, it's really well done. It was the acting was pretty good. Not really much else to say, really, as I'm just kind of sitting through the credits here. But I just want to, you know, at least get the recognition up on the screen here of all the people who worked on this. Because it is good, and I do recommend playing it, even if, you know, even if I kind of spoiled it for you. I mean, there are a few story-based games I think we played on this channel. But they didn't really they weren't like super linear like this. This is incredibly linear. Like, it's not like what's it called, Life is Strange, where you have like several different ways of going through the game with all the different choices that you make and all the different outcomes that can come from it. This is very much just like straight up no choices. This story has already happened, and we're just basically just showing it to you. While it was a good game, and it was fun for me to explore, I think this would have worked a lot better as like a movie or something like that. Just you know, put all of the events into order. You know, show all of the stuff that happened, and then, you know, just have it end on somewhat of a bittersweet ending here, where, you know, the world has been completely taken over by this pattern and it's wiped everyone out, but everyone's happy in the pattern, and everyone has, you know, their other person. But it's the weird thing, though, because when Kate mentioned, like, was everyone in, like, everyone's spirits and everything in the pattern as well? Like, because Mary was mentioned, who is like, you know, Frank's wife, who passed away before all this even happened. Like, it had been, you know, at least months since she died, and yet, you know, he's with Mary in the pattern and is happy like that. But you know, are all these people, you know, actually in the pattern and happy together, or is the pattern just showing the people what they want to see? Maybe it's some sort of, maybe they, I wouldn't necessarily say malevolent, but what if they were, you know, just like feeding upon the people as like a nutrition source, and, you know, making it seem like, you know, feeding them images and whatnot, and making them seem like it's a nice thing that they're part of this now. You know, there are still, even though a lot of it was more or less spelled out, I mean, not necessarily even spelled out, but even there were a lot of things that were easy to deduce from what was shown. But there are still some ambiguous things. So it does have that going for it too. So that it's still a story that, when all is said and done, you still have a lot to think about. You know, what exactly went on. You know, what about all the stories because there were a whole bunch of people, like, we didn't see how they ended up. I mean, there were a lot of people. I mean, not even just, like, not just the main ones had their ends shown. I mean, like, yeah, Lizzie and Steven and Wendy and Frank and Jeremy, we saw all of them, but we also saw Rachel and Charlie and, you know, all the people in that theater. We also saw, I think we were able to, at least through, you know, tape recording, or through that, no, it was through a phone, you know, we heard basically how Dr. Wade died. So, you know, there's more to it. You know, there's a whole bunch of other characters. Like, we don't necessarily see the end, but obviously we know that they're gone, and everyone's left as just, you know, the patterns of light that are still bopping around on Earth, showing you what happened. Rubik's Cube used with permission. Oh, I guess there's some sort of hidden message in there. I'm not going to decipher that at all. I don't really care that much. I think there's like some sort of a message if you translate into binary or whatever. There's a hidden thing, but you know, I'll look it up at some point. But I really wasn't interested enough to look and see what it said. But that was the game, and that was pretty fun, I think. At least it was fun showing it all off to you, even if it did take me quite a long time in between parts. I like the last 4 videos or so. Last 4 videos, basically chapter 4 through this, I did all in one day, and are back at the title screen. So yeah, I definitely say, you know, if you want to play through it yourself without my stupid voice, I encourage you to, you know, buy and download the game if you want. I had a lot of fun doing this. So yeah, look forward to more. I don't even know what's going to be up, because as of this recording, we're not done with Link's Awakening as of yet. But I think I'm going to be publishing these in the next coming week. So I guess, yeah, look forward to more Link's Awakening. The ending of Link's Awakening is coming up soon. And more Silent Hill 2. But until then, this has been Squeeze the World Presents Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. And I've been Rado Goji, and I'll be here next time. Join me, won't you?